Would you take your nephew to see a sea panda for $20? We say sea panda because we can easily call them by this name. Or would you rather take him to see the scary killer whale for $100? If you're studying marketing, you've probably got this question in your first lessons. Why orcas are called killer whales? Is this just some marketing trick? Let's see. How did they get this name? For decades, maybe even centuries, orcas have instilled a pure fear in the hearts of people. In all their ferociousness, they've been dubbed killing demons, fish tigers, whale killers, and wolves of the sea. Their scientific name is Orcinus orca. This name comes from the Roman god of death and the underworld Orcas, who was also known as a punisher. The indigenous Haida in North America calls them Skana, which means a killer demon. So you'll ask, how did they get this frightening name? Have you watched Richard Harris and Bo Derek's movie Orca the Killer Whale? If you did, then you may already have an idea. This movie did to orcas what Jaws did for sharks. Orcas are the only animals that kill for revenge next to people, according to the storyline of the movie. But let's be honest now, orcas were memorable animals even before the movie. It's hard to miss their distinctive black and white markings. And since this big beast grows up to 12,000 pounds and 32 feet long, a human is no match for a killer whale. That's roughly 600 times the size of a grown man. Before we continue talking further, we must clear some things up. Did you know that orcas aren't classified as whales? Yeah, they belong to the dolphin family. They're just large black and white dolphins. And according to the whale experts working in Twofold Bay near Australia, orcas don't hunt humans. They even help them hunt other fishes in this area. So this scary name probably began with sailors calling them killer whales. At some point, it got switched around to killer whale, perhaps through an error in translation. Their reputation as fierce hunters comes from their food menu. They frequently target other marine animals such as seals and sea lions, dolphins and porpoises, sharks and rays. A great white shark is a joke to them. They even eat other large whales. They hunt in groups known as pods, and those groups could be around 30 or 40 orcas. There are even some recordings that show pods made by 100 orcas. They are famous for hitting that like button. No, but really, killer whales are famous for their sophisticated hunting tactics, creativity, and intelligence. They're using the technique called carousel fishing, meaning that they will surround the fish and spew out bubbles to disable and distract them. They also use other techniques, such as the one where they pick out a young whale and pursue it relentlessly. Their hunt for the sharks is called karate chop. This is the most profound tactic killer whales use in hunting sharks. You thought that sharks are dangerous predators? Well, they're one of their favorite delicacies, but only in situations when they have difficulties finding less defensible prey in the ocean. Orcas are using their tails to drive down to the surface of a watery vortex. Then they would raise their tails into the air and crush the shark on its head, leaving it in a paralyzed state. Then they go for its liver. There are situations where they literally jump out of the water just to coax seals into the water. That makes the frightened seals jump in the water where members of the pod are lying in wait. In all of their actions, they display creativity, ingenuity, and opportunism, in addition to their natural role as carnivores. And all this makes the name killers fit perfectly well. Is Orca a more suitable name? The researcher who runs Orca Lab from Hansen Island, Paul Spunk, finds the name killer whale, quote, rather unfair, especially because these creatures live a peaceful lifestyle. Killers is a name that somehow represents vicious animals that are a danger to humans, and using a more neutral term would be better. He makes a huge effort to call them orcas, even though their Latin name, Orcinus orca, also evokes death. Quote, we all kind of are not particularly in favor of sanitizing anything we do with science. These animals, they kill for a living, he said. The wider public and the scientists should be more concerned about understanding orcas, their role, and their behavior in the oceans, rather than focusing on their names. Are they dangerous? they actually aren't, at least to humans, although you should still be careful. There has been one instance of an orca attacking a person in the wild, but do not compare them with orcas in captivity. There have been a handful of attacks from orcas at aquariums or zoos, and a few attacks tragically resulted with death of their trainers. In these situations, the killer whale would usually grab hold of the trainer's hair or limb and pull them underwater. This usually happens because they feel threatened or are under emotional distress. But as we said, this is not a situation in an ocean. For many reasons, they tend to disregard humans, which makes you ask, why are they friendly? There are a few theories. First, we don't resemble their other prey, and second, we are probably not that tasty for their complex palate. Anyway, don't mistake kindness for weakness. Given their low track record of harming people, they are not the most welcoming animals. If they feel their family is being threatened, you better smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. No, in all seriousness, move out of the way. In this case, they won't hesitate to attack and defend themselves. After all, we've seen them hunting the largest animals on the planet. So while you are not their favorite food on the table, it doesn't mean they won't protect themselves from perceived threats. Just hope that you won't be mistaken for food. What other names do they have? There are a variety of names for killer whales around the world, but right now, only a few languages are also using some variation of orca. In Germany, they are called Mordenwald, which means whale murderer or sword whale. In France, they are known as whale assassins. In Norway, they call them fat choppers, and many other names. In general, they have a bad reputation all around the world. How do they communicate? Same as with humans, in the orca population, elders are passing down the knowledge to younger individuals. They teach them what to eat, how to catch it, where to find it, who to avoid, and calls unique to pods and family groups. When it's their time to sleep, they sleep in a very different way to humans. While they have a breathing reflex, and when we become unconscious, we continue to breathe automatically. Orcas, on the other hand, have to remain conscious, even when they are sleeping. They have to actively decide when to breathe, meaning their breath is not automatic. But how do they do that? Well, only allow one half of their brain to sleep at any given time. The other half has a differing function. It enables them to continue breathing and allows them to be aware of dangers in the environment. This type of sleep is known as unihemispheric sleep. What threats do orcas face? Orcas, or killer whales worldwide, face a number of threats. They often face problems with toxic waste and pollution in the sea, or get caught in fishing nets and gear accidentally. In some regions like Japan, Indonesia, and Greenland are still victims of whaling efforts. Historically, populations in the North Atlantic and Pacific Northwest were targeted for live captures to be sold to oceanariums. The southern residents still struggle to recover, since they're extensively targeted. Several different ecotypes and populations of orcas are found throughout the world. According to some research made by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, there are around 50,000 killer whales globally. The number of orcas who live in the eastern North Pacific Ocean is over 2,500, and they are the most well-studied killer whale populations. In the last 10 years, several populations of orcas have smashed that subscribe button and rang the notification bell. No, sorry again. They have declined, and some have become endangered. See you in the next video.